Hey guys, today I'm tackling the question, if a person you're interested in, or an ex-partner has already pulled off a certain behavior with their previous exes, how likely is it that they'll do it again? Or to put it in a tangible example, once unfaithful, always unfaithful? Maybe a bit highfalutin. Okay, how about this? She blasphemes and talks about her exes all the time. Will she still do that with the next partner? You are naive, by the way, if you live in your bubble and think that there will be no next partner at all. Maybe, but it is unlikely, especially with such women. And here I want to hook directly into the generalization. There is always 1 in 10,000 who is not like that. But the probability that this is yours, yes, stand 9,999 to 1. Or if you don't want it quite so exactly, very unlikely. So what am I getting at? People don't change overnight. And even if men and women learn from their mistakes, it's always a matter of how they evaluate their mistakes. Especially after a relationship that ended in a way like cheating, whether being caught or having a crush on your lover, people like to subconsciously use the tactic of rationalization for their own conscience. Subconsciously means that you can recognize it, clearly prove it, and it doesn't make any sense to explain it to her and try to change it. Because you slander her feelings. She feels that. It was like that. That must have been so, and you pig won't tell her what she felt at that moment when she felt compelled to depend on the love of another man because of your kind. After all, she deserves happiness. This or something like this could be the rationalization, and who is the bad guy in this? I don't want to tell you that all women are like that and do it on such a scale, that's not the truth. I want to give you a hint in the direction in which such a situation can develop and what you can do in such a case. Nothing. Because for her it was like that, and the more you fight against it, the safer it will be for her. Only that in this case you are not the one who manifests it for her, but a completely new man who hopefully had nothing to do with the cheating and who now notices it after, hopefully a longer time. Now the question, because it should pull you all together with the knowledge, can I still trust this woman? And that is primarily in your hands. I can tell you exactly, if you are constantly running around with such a feeling in the stomach area and always have this in front of your eyes, do both of you a favor and don't do this to yourselves. You will never be able to give your all again. The insecurity is so big that it puts a stop to your really big feelings, and if you are not completely aware of who you are and what you actually have to offer her, then you develop a complex that closes you off from her inside. But this is not to be found out in a short time. Maybe you have to look for yourself first how you can cope with it. That is step 1. You count, and if something like that just doesn't work for you, then the woman just doesn't work. But listen to yourself and don't do it because people on the internet tell you something. Knowledge about it is good. Extreme thinking and prohibitions never. Well, you can handle it, and now ask yourselves, what is the chance that she will do it again? First of all, probably not at all, and she will swear that to you before everything that is sacred to her. It was something else, the guy was totally different, and rationalized stuff like, he couldn't give me this, and this, all this is ego stroking for you, and maybe a little bit of hope that it was because of that and the security that you won't develop like that. But your attraction is the only thing that determines if it will be considered again. Not necessarily if she does it again, but both you and she think it's done by not exhibiting certain behaviors. I say, you can act 1:1 like he did, if the attraction is higher than it was then, it's not up for debate. And you can act completely differently and it will be interpreted to your negative, if the attraction is too far down, it still doesn't stop it. So these are all things that make you feel safer in the moment, but don't do shit in the long run. So what to look out for? Did this woman really have time to work on herself, and do you see that she has moved on? Was she single for half a year or a year, and are there other ex-boyfriends between the ex-boyfriends she screwed over? Was it a one-time thing? Well, there you are, lied to in the worst case, ice cold, and you believe because you are so in love. You should be alert for one time, just like with monkey branching and some other things that are red flags for you. So where was I? How much time did she have to work on herself, and how did she use it? When she mouths the word personal development and time to learn to get along with herself, that's a good start. But a woman who can't go a quarter of a year without a relationship or a friendship, not much will have happened in between. Women don't have to evolve to get the chance for relationships. With us, the chances of getting women who are really worth something increase along with what we build as the foundation of our lives. Us. Women have direct access to more than they have to offer. And after a certain point, that decreases very quickly. Only we notice that immediately when we meet rejection or disinterest, and women only when it is too late. Then, all of a sudden, we are forced to reflect and work on ourselves. But without enough pressure or understanding, usually nothing happens. Nevertheless, you must not blame an individual woman for all you have met so far. That's why I say test a woman, and if she doesn't go for you or you find too many red flags, then yes, better for both of you if it doesn't work out. But if you find that a lot of time has passed between exes, and I'm not talking months, people change. Although rarely by themselves and without the described pressure behind it, but the possibility itself exists. But she has to show something of it now. Nothing that you give her as a task, she is actually not allowed to direct her attention to it at all. But if you have your frame and then know how a woman has to treat you, you don't deviate from it, then your gut feeling should be a good indicator for what can and will work and where you both are on lost ground and just enjoy your time together. Or also where you are wasting it. But for this you must first have it and be able to hold it. No woman who is no different than with all her ex-boyfriends, whom she is monkey branched. Yes, that is simply not relationship material, and that is why I also do not jump directly into relationships without having found out something like that. But you can also find out in a smart way and an extremely stupid way, and by stupid I mean asking directly or pseudo-directly. This simply shows insecurity, non-existent trust, and breaks more than it brings. Do such conversations about the ex-partners of both of you, by the way, mostly. If she wants to talk about it in a big way, women usually do at some point anyway, then good. And it is also a criterion that you have to pay attention to. Such a thing should not come out after 2 years of relationship, where you already have a bond that makes it impossible for you to see what she could pull off on the side and you act differently than you would otherwise because of the emerging insecurity. I.e., but ask? If at all, you already know her quite well and know where to start. Knowledge of human nature and, even better, empathy are extremely important. Of course you have to see in coordination if this makes sense for you. Maybe it comes from her or you take the risk that it has been like this and will come out late or not at all. Mistrust is just as bad for a possible relationship as the knowledge of something like that can be bad if you can't handle it or deal with it. The thing is also that with me you are listening to someone who ignored monkey branching in every previous relationship and still wanted it all so badly, but because of that, as mentioned, could never muster the full trust. This is one of those things that runs through every argument, but also through every nice time together like a red thread, and before it was about to end loaded one more bullet in the revolver for Russian roulette. That was a crucial point, which in my opinion failed because of me. Because I should have said no directly when I realized that I could no longer fully trust her and that she never did anything to work it up for herself. You are not responsible for fixing these people or changing them. They have to want to do that on their own, and just because you are there now, they will try to do their thing rather than take the time for themselves when you can't help them. Because now it's like, now they want this so bad. But without having created the basis. Do they have enough for you? You decide and no one else. What they say to you is irrelevant, especially when the limerence is doing its best to weld you together. Just like an, I love you, that is beautiful, I believe it at that moment and I am happy about it. But I know that in the future it has to be repeated to still count, and it doesn't have to mean the same thing as it did at the beginning or generally at that moment. And with such an insecurity something accumulates with you, with which possibly no amorous babble of the world comes against, but hits you more and more and will annoy her more and more. Because you do not give what you could give, and it also goes to them on the psyche. So, know yourselves and then assess them as best you can for yourselves. And in any case, know that nothing comes from nothing. If she didn't understand and didn't work on herself for a long time, then there's a damn good chance that the same patterns will take hold with you again as soon as the attraction is far enough down. Take care and see you in the next video.